A couple things stand out to me of life changers. I think of the football, and it's like I can remember calling USC Utah, my first game ever calling SC. Guy who coached at SC, you always want to like raise your game. At least I did. This is like I was probably year 2, and we do the open, and I'm talking about a linebacker, number 40, and I in the open, live open with Ted Robinson. I can't remember his name, and Scott Barkey gets in my ear and he goes, Hayes Blard, Hayes Blard. And I was like, hi, Hayes Blard. And I did the game, and it was not a good broadcast. And afterwards, Michael Molinari, who's a dear friend of all of ours, came up to me and he said, hey, I get it. Like, you wanted to prove like that you were ready for this moment, like that you could handle USC, like you had so much behind you. He's like, you don't have to prove you're the smartest guy in the room. You're one of 2 people in the entire stadium who have a headset. You're good, dude. And it was like this amazing moment for me that I often share to young broadcasters of like, you just got to celebrate the game, which leads me to my next one. When I think about Ted Robinson, this guy, in a different way than you three, he just changed my life. I mean, when I got partnered with him, it was kind of chaotic how it all happened. And I remember flying up there being like, I got to meet this guy. Like, all he knows me is the guy who like DJ'd at the Oregon State spring game, which is a great footage if you ever want to go back and find me and Benny just spinning it in front of like 1,500 people. But anyway, Ted is a guy who taught me how to be a husband and how to be a dad. And he was like, don't watch the extra game. Don't watch the extra game. Don't do the extra call. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I got this. And within a week, I was burned out. And he just kept staying on me. And then, of course, sharpening the craft as a broadcaster. So that's like the next place I go to. And then I really go to, the most catalytic was I met my wife on a plane coming home from Stanford in spring football. I mean,
I was going to make sure you brought that up. If you didn't bring that up, I was going to make sure you brought it up.
It's a no-brainer. And I'm kind of like in chronological order, right? Like we always think of the games. Like I think of like Oregon State SC. I think of Cal SC. Like we've all had great games that we've called that were memorable. But sitting next to her and like knowing I was supposed to be on the plane, and the only reason I'm on is because Mike Bloomgren and Brent Brennan, 2 dear friends of all of ours, were like, stick around and have a bottle of wine with us. And then I meet the love of my life. And then I cut to like a couple years later, and I can remember so vividly, Ashley, the day my mom died, you're the first person I called. Like, first person I called. I was dry, and I was like, I got to go to the beach, because I was just like a safe haven. And just, I think I might have said a word, because I couldn't really communicate. But that to me, like, those are the things that as we get further and further removed, like the Hayes Pollard moment, yes. The Caleb Williams to Jordan Addison, maybe. The call to Ashley, for sure. Meeting my wife, obviously. Mike and Jim, you guys have just kept showing up in my life. So I go back to probably an element of what you said, Mike, of like, it really is about the humans that you're around. Yeah. And I think in broadcasting, my humble opinion in the era we're in now, is that it's really can become a lot about you. And I think that when you don't do that, and you use the term that Ashley taught me, when you try to illuminate other people and shine a light, like, God, when you need it to come back, it'll come back in the most unexpected way. And like, Ash, I needed that driving in my car on the way to the beach, being like, what just happened in my life? Or, there's instances we all can recall with one another. And those are like really, they don't exist without the Pac-12, without Kristen like taking a flyer and saying, yeah, do sideline. It just doesn't happen. And that, I think, as we all go on, Mike, you're doing your thing at the NFL, Ash and I will move on, like this podcast exists. Those are the only things I think that I'm going to keep talking about over the course of time.
Yeah.